Welcome back to Flourish Field Academy. Now that our player can lose life, it is only fair that we also let them earn life back. This is the part 8 of the Zombie Shooter series game. Now in this part, we'll track how many zombies you kill, heal the player after 30 kills, prevent healing beyond maximum life. Now, in games, we have reward systems which makes games so addictive. You survive longer not because the game is easy, but because you are playing well. So the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to create the kill variable by going to variables, make a variable, and call it kills. Then we have to be in our bullet sprites. I'm already in the bullet sprite, that's why you can see that it is highlighted blue. If you're not in the bullet sprite, it will not show this way. Now the first thing you're going to do now is you're going to click on control when I start as a clone. Then still in control, you pick repeat until. Then you go to operators and then you pick the OR operator. And then you go to sensing and pick touching. Then I'll just duplicate this and put it inside here. Then I'll change this one to zombie and then this one to edge. And then I'll go to motion and pick move 20 step. Then right under it, I'll go back to control and pick if. Then I'll go to sensing and pick touching zombie. Then I'll go to variables and pick change kills by 1. Then I'll go back to control and then I'm going to pick delete this clone. So now what we're saying here is that when the bullet starts as a clone, we should repeat until, but while we're doing that, if it is touching the zombie or touching the edge, move 20 steps. But if it is touching zombie, then change kills by 1, that is increment by 1, that is add 1 to it. So from 0, you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you delete that clone instantly. And next what we're going to do now is to implement the healing logic on the player sprites. Now, to do this, we first click on events. When green flag clicked, control, forever. Then we go to operators. We are going to pick the AND operator. Before we pick the AND operator, we are going to go to control and pick if then. Now then we'll add this AND inside. So the AND operator is simply means that both sides has to be true. A is true and B is also true. And then the AND operator, it allows the if statement to evaluate. So if A is true and B is true, then do something. So now we're saying if, then we'll now go back to the operator. I'm going to pick less than. We'll pick less than here. And then we'll pick greater than. Oh, sorry, my bad. So this is greater than and this is lesser than. I made a mistake. Sorry. Then we go to variables. And then in variables, I'm going to drag these kills variable inside here. And say if kills greater than 30 and life less than maximum life, then change. So now I'm going to pick life by 1, set kills to 0. So we reset queue so player can't stack infinite healing, or rather player's life will not just keep increasing. So now what this one is saying is that when we click on a green flag, we have our code inside the forever loop. Then we're saying if we use the if then, so if the AND operator that evaluates if both sides is true, if queues, that is if 30 is greater than 30, can find greater than or equals to. So yes, this is the next best one. So if 30 greater than 30, if when queues here becomes 30, that is it is greater than 30 or equals to 30, and this life here is less than maximum life. So this is 5. Then this should start at 5 when we click on it, when we click on the green flag. So when this life becomes 0, so it is less than this when it starts at 0 is less than this 5, then change life by 1. So we're going to increment life by 1 and then set queues to 0 and reset this from 30 to 0. So now we're going to test that. So you can see now that my queues is going up. So I'm trying to see if I can hit 30. My life is also going down. It has reset. Okay. So let me quickly go back to player. So let me reduce this to like 5 so that we can 2, 3, 4, 5. So pay attention to you can see that it keeps increasing from now. If I get 5 now, I'll have life at 2. But because the zombies are fast, so my life keeps going down quickly. So I'll stop the game now. Okay, the game has stopped. I'll go back to this. I'll change this to 30. And there it is. Awesome. Now, skilled players can survive longer by earning health. But what happens when the game decides to fight back harder? In part 9, where we introduce the boss zombie.